Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Newsroom. I'm Maddie Paul, and this is our Chamberlain live camera. If you're interested in looking at it yourself, even with the snow, if you like it or not, you can do so by going to KELOLAND.com and looking at our live cameras. This is Inside the Newsroom. We bring you trending stories and our newsroom staff members who created those stories, all right here for Inside the Newsroom. So let's get started right away. There's 8 cities in Minnehaha County that don't need to fund their own police departments. And that's because the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office provides that service. Our digital reporter, Ray Yost, looked into this growing trend in contracts and also the details for these different 8 facilities in a recent KELOLAND.com original story. And she joins us here at the digital desk to talk a little bit about it. So, Ray, let's break down the context here.
Sure.
What do these contracts with the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office mean?
Well, they're contracts that request a certain, or they dictate a certain number of hours for coverage, patrol coverage during weekdays, and they set a price that those cities will pay for those contracts. So it's really about how many hours of service you will get and how much you'll pay for it.
So what drove to this decision, and how did you learn about this story idea?
Well, the contracts come up for renewal periodically, and it's usually once a year. And, you're looking through the material for Minnehaha County, and you're like, oh, it's November. They're looking at the contracts from the county's perspective, and then the cities take a look at those contracts, in their December or November meetings. I think the trend is you're seeing more smaller communities, disband their police departments, and they're looking for coverage. Now, if we had a police department, how do we replace that? Or if we're growing enough where we think we need some law enforcement coverage, who can provide us that?
So is this a trend that we're seeing on a national scale, or is this something that we're seeing locally, like in the Midwest? What did you find out?
Yeah, I think it's really on a national level, and some states maybe have had this trend a little earlier. California, for example, has, a number. Of course, they're larger, but they have a number of cities that contract with the local county. Found some material from Texas, Arkansas, maybe not as much, but it's happening there. And then, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, even in Iowa. So it's really likely to be more widespread is how I describe it.
What do you hope that viewers take away or learn from a story like this, Ray?
Well, I think it's not necessarily something, if you think of every day. If you're in Del Rapids or if you're in Hartford or Garrettson, you probably notice that the sheriff's deputy is in town. You may even talk to him, getting coffee or something like that, or if you've had a crime happen. But I just think it's just a reminder of why cities choose to do this. They can avoid some staffing turnovers, things like that, with their, if they operate their own police department. But I think it's just to remind people, hey, this is why they do it. Here's the cost. Might look like a lot of cost, but here how it might compare to maybe having your own department.
Ray, thank you for sharing some details here at the digital desk. And viewers, if you want to read this story for yourself, you can. Just scan that QR code that you see on your screen right now to go to the KELOLAND.com homepage. And stick around for more on Inside the Newsroom, because up next, we're learning about how our state nonprofits are rallying today for Giving Tuesday. Stay with us. We'll have more on Inside the Newsroom when we come back after the break. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Today is Giving Tuesday, a global movement that encourages donating to nonprofits the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And many nonprofits in South Dakota are participating. Our digital reporter, Gracie Terrell, learned about what work these nonprofits do in a recent KELOLAND.com original story. So, Gracie, when you were doing research and looking at some different nonprofits in the area who were working for Giving Tuesday, how did you decide the story angle you were going to take? And did that change at any point?
I think it was pretty straightforward. There's a website called South Dakota Gives, and they have kind of compiled over 400 different nonprofits throughout the state. So that's where I was kind of poking around and trying to find some different nonprofits, maybe ones we haven't necessarily talked to throughout the year, since I know we've done a lot with SNAP benefits and food insecurity. So I know we've kind of touched on those guys a lot this year. So I wanted to kind of branch out a bit. And, when talking with the different nonprofits, they kind of were just telling me, about their different organizations and what they do. I think, asking about how, these places rely on donations throughout the whole year. But my kind of focus was, what is maybe different about specifically Giving Tuesday and this day specifically to give rather than maybe their other donations events that they have throughout the year. And I think that kind of shaped the story of just how important this day is, and the way that they use the money maybe differently than some other donations to kind of help out.
And what do you hope viewers take away from this story?
I just hope that they, get a little bit of the two organizations that I spoke with, Abbott House and Helpline Center. Just get a little bit of what they do. And if you feel compelled to donate, or if you want to check out the website for South Dakota Gives of the other 400 nonprofits in the area, just kind of letting people know that these guys are out there working today, trying to campaign, get the message out about their different organizations, what they do, and just let people know that there's some other ways to kind of maybe delve into the holiday season a little bit. We just had Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, so a lot of buying of things. So this is just a different way to kind of give back as well.
Was there anything that stood out to you that you learned after talking to these nonprofits for this story?
When I spoke with the Abbott House, they said that they are going to do a $10,000 gift match for any donations that were made today. So that's where, something like Giving Tuesday is maybe a little bit different than their other fundraisers, just because there's a lot more buzz around it. Other, bigger organizations or bigger foundations are kind of pitching in a little bit more to maybe do some of those gift matches to incentivize some people. And with the Abbott House, all of the money that they raise for Giving Tuesday specifically is going to go to, they kind of help service some neglected, traumatized youth in the state with inpatient foster care treatment and stuff like that. But the money from Giving Tuesday will go towards, holiday celebrations, birthday celebrations, Christmas presents, maybe things that they don't necessarily get money for throughout the year to kind of keep the facilities running, keep them fed. So it's just like a little bit extra. So, if you're compelled to for Angel Tree, something like that, this is also another way to kind of give back to those kids and help them have a special, magical Christmas.
Gracie, thank you so much for joining us here at the Digital Desk to talk about your story. And everyone, you can read this story for yourself on KELOLAND.com. Just scan that QR code that you see on your screen right now to take you to our homepage. And stay with us. We'll have more on Inside the Newsroom after the break. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. It's something years in the making. A new pipe organ has been installed at the Cathedral of St. Joseph in Sioux Falls. Kelly Vogt showed us the big instrument and what it means for the local landmark in a recent Eye on KELOLAND story. And Kelly, this is an update to a story that you've covered previously before, right?
Yeah, I think the first time I covered it was in 2022 when the cathedral talked about how they were raising money for a new organ. And now 3 years later, it's become full circle.
And was it about a month or two ago, too, we saw the construction of the organ being placed in, and you were able to cover that too, right?
Yeah, the really interesting part of that story is as they took the old organ down, it revealed some artwork that had been covered up by that organ for a few decades. And so as this construction was happening, people who went to the church on Saturdays and Sundays got a little glimpse of some art that will now be covered up for centuries. Mm-hmm. That's how long this organ is expected to last.
Were those stories, did you get to have eye time to cover those elements too? Or was this the first time that you were able to do a really long form piece about the organ coming in?
This is the first time I've done a long form story on this. Other times they were daily stories, which are shorter and you don't really have the time to get as in depth. So this time around, we got to listen to the organ in the story and really learn more about it.
That was the most fun element for me about the story, is that the story started with sound, it ended with sound, and you heard it throughout too. I just loved the sound that you could hear with the organ and made it like its own character in the story. So why did you want to include that natural sound so much for the story?
Well, anytime you have a story that's about music or about an instrument, I think it's just begging for sound.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's, you got to include it when the focus of your story is a musical instrument.
How did you feel when you first heard that organ play?
I think it sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful and it's so pretty to look at.
And what was the atmosphere like when you got to see that organ that was there finally built in? Just what was that vibe or tone that you were getting from the atmosphere of the area?
Well, I go to church at the cathedral, and you can tell people are always looking behind them up into the loft, or I've seen some people take out their phones after church and snap some pictures. And Father Morgan told me that when he's up on the altar, he can see people turning around during the service. So a lot of people are really fascinated by it. And I'm sure with time, you know, that will dissipate, but it's still something that's new and something that some people are, you know, just now getting a look at.
So exciting. For this story, was there a particular shot or moment that happened that you found yourself building the story around?
Well, the outside of the cathedral is always so stunning. So I thought it'd be really fun to just open with that shot. And what's interesting about that is it's so tall that you have to get a long distance away from the church to get the whole thing in your camera frame. So my photographer, Sophie, did a great job with that.
In the tag of the story last night, we learned that there is still voicing that needs to happen to the organ. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting term that I learned when I wrote this story. So this organ has around 4,000 pipes. And
wow, just that in general is like,
yes.
whoa.
And so each one of those pipes needs to be adjusted to fit the acoustics of the church. So that doesn't mean you can't play it. As more of the pipes get adjusted, the more and more you can play it. So it is being played during the church service, but every pipe is not totally voiced yet.
What an interesting term. That was so cool to learn about last night. Thank you for explaining that right now. Is there anything else that you'd like viewers to take away from the story or learn more about?
I think you covered it well.
I think you did too, Kelly. Thank you so much for being here at the Digital Desk to talk about your Eye on KELOLAND story. And coming up next on Inside the Newsroom, we are learning about what we can expect for December weather. So stick with us. We're going to have more on Inside the Newsroom after the break. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Just 1 month to go, and then 2025 will be over. So, Scott Munt, what can we expect for winter weather in December?
I thought you were going to ask something that doesn't have to do about the weather.
Never.
About, the new year.
Actually, okay,
what
fine.
are your New Year's resolutions? Similar along those lines.
No, we'll do that at the end of December.
Oh, is that when you're supposed to?
Yeah.
The time? I got to work better on my timing.
You know, I will ask, though. Here's something not weather related since you want it so bad. Did you see, I think it was in our newscasts, because I saw this at the 4 o'clock last night, that people were submitting videos from the Parade of Lights, and they were getting that Grinch. The one that was just kind of...
Yes.
That was just kind of wandering around. They kept submitting that video
Crowd
of
favorite.
that Grinch. I know, exactly.
Santa should be the crowd favorite, not the Grinch.
Everyone wanted to see the Grinch, though. So I thought that was funny.
And he turned that kid upside down when he picked him up.
I'll never forget seeing that shot. If you guys haven't seen, I'm talking to my viewers right now. If you haven't seen Inside the Newsroom from yesterday, you can watch it on demand because we reviewed the parts that I saw of the Parade of Lights that I just decided to show Scott Munt and Jordan DeSmit. And at the very end, you see that Grinch just hold a kid completely upside down. And I didn't notice. Was it you that you brought it up? You were like, look, that kid's upside down. And I was like, huh? Looking in.
My family pointed it out to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't notice it either. But my family pointed it out to me.
Because it's just like in the corner. It's kind of in the dark. It's at the end of the parade. So everybody's like wrapping up.
Eyes are on the Grinch,
Yeah.
not on Santa. The Grinch. And I look up when I say Santa.
Scott's favorite part, Santa. All right, come on, Scott. What can we expect for December weather then?
Well, these temperatures will go back and forth. And this is something we talk about on whether or not. This week's a good example. Going into next week, same thing. We'll bring in melting temperatures, I think, for next week. Ooh. I'm not saying how warm, but we should be able to melt snow and ice for next week. I'm not saying all of it. Some people have more snow than others.
Okay.
And then we'll probably by the weekend, that second weekend of the month, we'll see another hit of some cold air. That's the way things are shaping up right now. And tell you what, to be honest, it seems like every time I run into work, well, I don't run because
I'm sure you do. It's too cold.
Because there's ice and snow on the ground. I don't want to slip.
When you waddle into work.
When I waddle into work, penguin style, penguin walk, it seems like these things just change every day. Like, okay, now it's showing this. Okay, now it's showing this, which is, it's trying to figure things out as we get into the month of December. But from what I saw today, we'll go back and forth with these temperatures. And as we do go back and forth, we'll have to watch for periods of snow, too. No major systems coming through. A lot of what we'll see for our chances for, we'll call it precipitation, because we can see a wintry mix even today coming in from the northwest. So, those are not notorious to bring in heavy amounts of snow, but they do bring in snow. They bring in a wintry mix, wind and cold right behind them. So
I remember seeing that headline. So when I watch weather or not, then I'll know for sure. So everyone, you have to watch weather or not on demand, and it's live at 1:30 on KELOLAND Plus now because it was already aired at 9:30 this morning. So
yes, we're
9:30,
busy.
right? Yeah, it was 9:30.
Oh yeah, we're busy. We're turning around right away as soon as we get done with KELOLAND this morning.
Right. Since it's going to be so cold outside, what is your preferred indoor hobby? When it's too cold outside, you have to stay indoors and do something. What you doing?
Sleeping. Can I say that? I don't want to say that. I would think,
then you have to pick something else. It can be sleeping. Sleeping and something else.
If I don't like it.
Dreaming. Sleeping and dreaming.
Dreaming of warmer temperatures. The hard part is, with having two dogs in the house too, you want to keep them fairly active. Sometimes we'll see what the day brings, how cold it is, because I can still run out in the backyard and throw a frisbee around or something to hopefully get some energy out of them.
Okay.
Otherwise, my go-to, if we're kind of cooped up inside, hopefully I have enough food around that I can make a decent meal.
There we go. It's a good answer.
And maybe experiment with something different.
It's also a good answer.
In the kitchen. And if Melanie's working, when she gets home, I'm able to surprise her with a nice meal.
Jar.
Yeah,
jar.
Where is that jar?
I know. I gotta find I want to find like a really nice jar for her. I can't just find like a jar. Like it's got to be a jar that like represents Melanie. So give me a little bit, but I want it to be clear so we can see the marbles that are going in too, because we need to count like how much we've been saying her name.
Yeah. Well. Hey, the new year.
Oh, that's a good New Year's resolution. Oh,
so in 2026, we'll
that's
see
really smart.
How often we mention her name. How about you? What do you do when you're cooped up inside?
I don't sleep.
Mine's always thinking that you can't sleep.
I think this is a really bad answer.
You read a lot?
No, I used to read. That's a really bad way to start that. I should read more. If anybody has good book recommendations, please give them to me because I do need to read a lot more. But my problem right now, when it gets cold outside, I like to online shop, but I don't buy anything. I just like scroll and see what's there.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling and it's like.
So you're not buying anything. You're a little afraid of getting scammed into something then, right?
That would be the worst, Scott Mutt, is being scammed into something. Then you have to track it. Then you got to dispute it. Ugh, what a mess. But I was going to ask you, do your dogs like the snow? Like, do they like playing in it?
It's funny. Zion, and you know my pups. Yeah. Zion does. The tripod.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I thought he would be the one that's like the husky.
A little bit of husky in him. So he'll go out there and he'll just sit in the snow. And he'll look around. And I'm watching him from the outside. And he's not, doing much of anything but sitting out in the cold. And he goes out a lot more often now than Cooper.
What?
Oh, easily. Yeah. Cooper's
shocked.
You open that door and Cooper's like, no, I'm not going out there. You're nuts.
Is he like picky about it?
Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah. When it's warm, yeah, he'll go out there.
Yeah.
Maybe chase some birds or, see a rabbit or something. He'll want to get out with squirrel. Squirrel's the worst.
Squirrel's the biggest thing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised that he wouldn't want to go out and like dig or something in the snow.
Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Interesting. That's shocking to me.
No, it's Zion. In fact, I let Zion in the other day, and he's got that big snout, big nose. Now it's just covered with snow. It was.
Just covered. Oh, that's so
Okay,
sweet.
get in here. Comes trouncing, across the yard. I think it was last Christmas morning, we had a wintry mix of precipitation. So we had some freezing rain, some freezing drizzle. It was last year or 2 years ago.
Okay.
And he was coming in full bore to get back into the house. I wasn't home. Melanie was home. Jar.
Yeah.
And, he couldn't slow down. Slipped on the ice. He hit the steps. Yeah, Zion did. That steps that go up, and he kind of just fell on his back, and he stayed there. And then Cooper went out and kind of nudged him along and encouraged him to stand up, is what Melanie was telling me. But this year, I'm watching him, and we have a little bit of snow here and there, some ice still on the patio, and he'll kind of trot across the yard. And then once he hits that patio, he stops and goes gingerly up the steps.
He's learned his lesson.
He's learned his lesson.
Wow.
It's kind of neat to watch. Yeah, it's neat to watch.
That's funny, too, because I bet Cooper's like, see, this is why I don't go out in the snow.
Yeah.
Now you've learned.
I'll wait for the snow to melt.
I love animals' personalities. My cat, he will try to escape, but he's much better now about being indoors and like not doing snow at all.
Okay.
Because he ran out once. Never again. Too cold.
Really?
Yep.
How long was the cat out?
He was out. This was funny because this is when I was living with different people.
Okay.
And he was out for like 30 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. And I wasn't home. And so our apartment, like security was around my cat, like trying to get him back inside because it's just this random cat.
Now, did they know you had a cat?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yes, they knew. They knew.
That's
I'm
good.
I'm a good one. I'm a good resident.
Good.
And my roommate came home and saw that the cat was outside with like literally 3 people surrounding my cat, trying to get him inside. And my roommate just goes, "Chipito, get in."
What was that?
Chipito.
Chipito?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
That's my cat's name.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I never heard that.
No?
Is that one of those younger terms that I don't understand again?
Shorty.
Shorty?
Shorty. We're running out of time, Scott. We got to say
We're
goodbye.
getting off tangent again, right?
Everyone, thank you so much for watching Inside the Newsroom and having fun with us today. We'll have more trending stories to get to tomorrow. So until then, have a great day, everyone. Scott?
Good wave.
The wave. Bye.